Hey everyone, welcome to the Be Bold, Make Waves podcast, a show bringing you inspiring stories of women who are growing and scaling their business. I'm your host, Laura Comark, a website and tech integration specialist who works with online business owners who love their work and not their website. Join me as we have incredible conversations about business, mindset, productivity, and of course, the website and tech behind the business. Let's go ahead and dive in to this week's episode. Hello and welcome to today's show. For those of you who don't already know me, I'm Laura Comark, website and tech integration specialist for women who love their work but not their tech. I'm so incredibly excited to introduce you to my guest today, who has actually been on the podcast already. This is the first time we've had a repeat guest, Bevin Farrand. In 2019, after unexpectedly losing her husband 5 days after they returned from a whirlwind trip to France, Bevin founded the Take the Damn Chance movement. Her DAMN framework has inspired hundreds to connect with the people that they love, do the crazy thing that makes all the difference, and when given a chance, to take the damn chance. She's the author of the best-selling book, Your DAMN Manifesto, Discovering the Keys to Personal Transformation and Bringing Your Biggest Dreams to Life. Additionally, she's an executive business strategist and coach who supports women, small businesses, and entrepreneurs in bringing their big dreams to life. Bevin, thank you so much for coming back on the show today so we can talk all about your book. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what was this experience like with writing the book?
Well, first of all, thanks for letting me be your first repeat guest. I love that. It's like I'm coming back to the party. I love it. And congratulations on the success of your podcast, because I was here at the very beginning. So it's really exciting to see how it's grown. Yes. Your DAMN Manifesto, this book, it's so funny because it's a little bit meta. So people, if you don't know, who I am, I say the word damn a lot because it does actually mean something. So if you've ever heard take the damn chance, do the damn thing, take the damn trip, all of those things, it's probably me. So DAMN stands for decide and declare, attend your own party, moments, not minutes, and now is the time. And I created this after losing my husband unexpectedly. And if you want to hear the whole story, you can go back to the first episode I was on here. But the do the damn thing method started, and there's 3 steps to the do the damn thing method. There's crafting your DAMN manifesto, finding your damn people, and getting your damn results. And I really wanted to make this methodology more accessible to people. I'm a keynote speaker, so I speak on stages. I'm a coach. I work with people one-on-one or in groups. And I wanted people to be able to literally pick up the book and craft their DAMN manifesto, which is why I wrote this book. I wanted to get it out into the world, because crafting your DAMN manifesto is the foundational piece to bringing your dreams to life. And it's the piece that people skip over. They think, I just want to do this thing. But what they don't do is get really, really clear on what it is that they actually want and their 6-dimensional why, which is a piece that almost nobody does. And so when I thought about writing this book, the funny thing is, Laura, I have a degree in creative writing, and this is the first book that I've officially published. And I graduated like 20 years ago. But what I did was I wrote my own DAMN manifesto to craft this book. So my DAMN manifesto for my business is to share the DAMN framework with as many people as possible in as many ways as possible. That's my yes. And then my why is in order to create a sustainable, thriving business that both supports and inspires my family and the world. And so the yes of in as many ways as possible is this book. And I had to continue to come back to that DAMN manifesto as I was writing this to keep me focused and grounded on this is the book. The book has to get out because it's to reach as many people as possible. And so, yeah, it's the very first step was, it's I had to read the book to write the book.
Well, I'm so excited that you put it out to the world because I did coaching with you a couple years ago for a few years, actually, when you first started doing a small group coaching. And we went through a lot of what is in the book. Actually, I
Yeah.
think everything that's in the book. And for me, it's so amazing because you've talked about these things like the pad method, which maybe we can talk about in a minute.
Mhm.
And I've told other people about these things. I'm like, oh, you got to go check it out. Like Bevin talks about this. Go check it out. Go listen to her in all the places. Go check out her podcast, like do all the things. And so to actually have it now in writing, all these things
Yeah.
that I've been telling so many people about for so many years, I'm just so excited. And I'm excited as I'm going through the book to just revisit it all again.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it's funny because for a while, like the least expensive way to work with me was like $5,000. And often it was like $20,000. So now you can go get the book for like $15, or you can get it on Kindle for like 10, right? And it's like, but you're getting, and that's, that's something that people who are listening, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to think about is having your message out there in a variety of different ways. And for me, I teach the same method. It's the same method, whether somebody comes to me to get healthier, they want to start a business, they want to have more connected relationships or a new relationship, they want to expand their family, whatever it is, we go through the same method. So I'm saying the same things all the time, which is what we should do as entrepreneurs. But just knowing that you get your message out there, and then the more access that people want to you, the closer they want to be to you, then that's where you charge more money. So it's like you can get the book for 10 to $15. If you want to go fancy, you can get the hardcover. It's $30. Or you can then say, hey, I want to join a program. And maybe that's like $1,000 or $2,000 or 500, whatever it is. And then, maybe I want to bring her to an event. That's where you start to build a business all around the same methodology that is like teaching people how to do what you do so well.
I love that so much. So how easy or hard was it to actually write the book?
Oh, it's such a good story. Okay. So this was not the book that I was intending to write. So I actually started the process of writing a different book about 2 years ago. And that book is still in the works. I was telling you about it right before we started recording. And that book, honestly, I want it to go through a traditional publisher. And so I know that book is going to take like another 18 months to 3 years to get out into the world. If I'm lucky, right? It could be longer than that. And I didn't want to wait to get the message out there and start helping people do their damn manifestos. I didn't want to wait to have a book for when I speak, all of these things. So I decided for this book to self-publish. And there's a lot of benefits. I don't think we'll get into this, but like there's pros and cons to self-publishing versus traditional publishing. And it's a totally different world with self-publishing than it used to be. So what I did, honestly, part of the reason this book sounds so familiar to you is that you've done some of my courses. And what I did is I took my courses and I translated them into a book form. And so that actually was much easier than sitting and staring at a blank page. Because a lot of times what people get tripped up on books or whatever is they don't know what to start with. And this is, again, everything we're talking about is so meta because I talk about micro actions, and micro action is the smallest possible action that you will actually take. And when you're writing a book, people will be like, just write the book. Well, that's a huge action. There's about 5,000 micro actions. Well, you know what? There's about 20 to 50,000 micro actions in that because there's about 20 to 50,000 words in a book. And then it'll be like, well, just write the first chapter. And sometimes that is too paralyzing. And, we'll just write the title down. Well, I don't know what the title is going to be yet. Just open a Google Doc and write your name down and write the first sentence. That is a micro action. And everything we do in life is just a series of micro actions, but they come faster and they get bigger and they become easier. So after you have some practice, after I had written a couple of chapters, then I might say to myself, okay, I'm just going to sit down and write the next chapter, because that became the micro action that felt good. It was something I would actually do. But if on a day I sat down and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to write, then I would say, just write the first word. And so, so for me, the process itself, I actually hired somebody to help me guide me through this process because I knew that I wouldn't get it all done if I had to figure out the ins and outs, if I had to figure out KDP publishing and all of this stuff. So all I had to do was write the book, send it to the editor, send it to her and work with her as opposed to figuring it out. Once I started working with her, I want to say we actually started on the book in March and I launched it in September.
Wow.
And I could have launched it sooner, but I didn't want to, because I said, you know what? That's too much pressure on me, because I was doing all the marketing myself. She was helping me with the publishing. And I was like, that's just too much pressure. I'm a solo parent of 3 kids under 7. I just couldn't do it. So what would that be? Like 6 months?
Yep.
March, April. Yeah. Something like that. But don't don't put that pressure on yourself, right? Like if you're writing a book, give yourself a year, whatever. What I see people do though, is they give themselves a year and then they wait till like 2 months before their deadline and then they try to cram it all in. So give yourself an ambitious but attainable goal and then actually start working towards it.
With the micro actions.
Micro actions. You craft your you have to read this book before you can write your book. So the DAMN Manifesto, what it is it's your yes and your 6-dimensional why. So what this book walks you through is uncovering your yes, because a lot of times we jump to the how too fast. So we're like, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to teach courses, or I'm going to, I don't even know, like you jump too fast. Like when I started Take the Damn Chance, I was like, I'm going to teach people through digital courses because that's what I know. And I had to step back and say, no, that's not my yes. My yes is to share the damn framework with as many people as possible in as many ways as possible. That how has changed. That how has become speaking. That how has become a podcast. It has become being a guest on other people's podcasts. It has become the book. It's become all of these things. It's becoming the next book that I'll be sharing. I have 2 to 3 more books in the works. Because in this series, I'll have one called Finding Your Damn People, and I'll have one for Getting Your Damn Results. Those will be much easier to write because they are what I talk about all day, every day. The memoir, this book that's more the story of me losing my house in a home and house fire and all like the journey, that's a much heavier book to write. So you have to get your yes, not your how. And then and then it walks you through like the 4 questions that you ask yourself to say, is this actually my yes? I call it the TRIP filter. You know that I love a good acronym. And then it helps you walk through finding your 6-dimensional why and all the ways that this is going to impact the most important areas of your life. And then you craft your damn manifesto. And then once you have that will be the touchstone that will get you through when things are hard. Because everything gets hard at some point. It will get you through when you are being pulled in multiple directions or you have multiple ideas. I talk about how to park your ideas, but it'll pull you so when I get offered something, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I really would like you to do this project, I hold it up to my damn manifesto and I say, is this in service of moving the Take the Damn Chance movement forward? And if it's not, then it's a no, because, and that makes it easier because I've gotten offered some things that are like pretty hefty. And I'm like, man, it is not at all in service of my damn manifesto. So I've got to say no so that I can leave the space for the things that are in service of it.
I love that. And it's interesting hearing you talk about it. I realize that so much that I've taken from our coaching time together, and I'm still running things through my filter.
Yeah, good. I love that.
I mean, there's I get things that come into my inbox and opportunities. And I'm like, is this, and I'm like, is this fit into my big picture?
Yeah.
The big goal I'm shooting for, which like I tell people all the time, like in the masterminds that I'm in now, in my peer-led masterminds, I talk about like, I know where I'm going. I know what my big vision is. I know what I want to end up creating. It doesn't happen overnight. It's taken me years to get to this point, and I still have a few more years till I get to bring that whole vision to life.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm working towards, and I know the steps, the micro actions that I need to take to get to that point.
And what's so cool about that? So what's great about knowing your yes and knowing your DAMN manifesto is that then you do just take micro actions towards it. And so, again, we were talking before we started recording that for me right now, I have inconsistent childcare, just for a lot of reasons. And again, I'm a solo parent of 3. My youngest is 2, so she's not in school. So if I don't have childcare, then I can't work. I can work for 90 minutes, maybe if she takes a nap. So this week, I have had to cancel 2 full days of work. I had to cancel a day last week. Today I had to cancel about 2 to 3 hours. And that could feel really stressful. It does still feel stressful. But because I know what, like you said, what I'm working towards, then I don't have this feeling of I'm not doing enough. I can sometimes have that, but in general, if I can't work for a day, then I say, okay, but I know that I'm still moving in the right direction. Too often when we don't have that North Star, that touch point that we're moving towards, then when we can't work for a day, we spend a lot of time spinning our wheels being like, I need to do more. I'm not doing enough. When in reality, it's like, well, if you're doing the right things, you can actually do a lot less than you think you need to. Does that make sense?
Does make sense. It's kind of interesting because we were talking also before we hit record about how your time, the lack of consistent childcare and like the lack of having a lot of time to get things done is where I was just a couple years ago. I mean, really, I was there like a few months ago.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, you and I have switched places a little bit.
Yeah. So my kids are now both in school because my youngest started kindergarten. And so they're both in school Monday through Friday. And they're in an after school program because now this is the first year the school has had an aftercare program that goes till 5 Monday through Friday. Last year I had Monday and Tuesday. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was something. I was grateful for having something, but I'm thrilled. I have so much time now. It's taking me a couple months of time recording. We're like in October and school started end of August. It's taken me some time to get some footing of figuring out what to do with this like abundance of time.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not cramming everything into like 3 days into like short windows. And it's really weird.
Well, and it's funny because now you could, what some people do is they'll like let their tasks expand to fit the time because they feel like we have this system that society has put on us that we have to work 9 to 5. And then as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we start this business that we then end up working like 7 to 7, like 7 to midnight, right? Like we're working 80 hours so that we don't have to work 40. It's insanity. And instead, if you say, okay, these are the things that I need to do, and we set our benchmarks and our milestones, then you can do those and then be done. Right. And because you're working towards this one larger goal. And so you don't feel the need to fill your time with this fluff. Just for, look, we all do it, right? We're like, oh, I worked 8 hours today. And it's like, yeah, but you did quote unquote research on Instagram for 4 of those hours. That's not really necessary. So for me, it's like, I know that I need to do an hour of book time a day. So this is for the next book. And sometimes that is reading another book. Like I've been trying to dive into a lot of memoirs and see how people tell them and how I like it versus when I'm totally disengaged with it. Sometimes it is figuring out writing my book proposal. And sometimes it's actually writing the book, but it's the business of the book. Or it's, I don't know, promoting the one that I just put out. But I have to do that. And there's some other things that I know need to get done to run the business. And it's good for me to know those things because on the days when I have to like cancel everything because I don't have childcare, then there's some things that I'm like, okay, I can do that after they go to bed. So yeah, it's just really helpful in designing your life to know what you want in all the areas.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like I talk to friends about this all the time where they're like, I was just talking with a friend the other day and she was like, I feel like I'm spinning. I'm like, well, what's your big vision? Like, where do you want to go? What's
What's your damn manifesto?
What's your damn manifesto? I know. I'm excited. I have a Voxer message I'm sending after this call to get her address, and I'm going to send her your book.
So think about it. Okay. So let's take it out of the business world for a second, because I talk a lot about that, but I have been testing this to see if it works in all the different areas of our life. And I have not yet found an area where it doesn't work. So let's take it out of the business world for a second and say you want to have like a really connected, emotionally connected, like passionate, whatever is important to you, relationship with a partner, whether it's somebody that you are currently in a relationship with or you want to meet somebody new. So if you just took that and you uncovered your yes, and you were like, what is it that I want? And I kind of just said, I just threw one out there. Not the how, right? We're not talking about the how. We're just like, what I want is this really supportive, connected relationship. And then you looked at, how will that impact the 6 most important areas of my life, which are financial, emotional, mental, physical, social, spiritual? Well, financially, maybe you would be able to, if you are getting a new relationship, then you have financial power of the 2 of you together. Or if you're just thinking, if you guys were on the same page financially, how could you change your conversations around money? How could you change how you used your money? Emotionally, like, wow, you're going to feel supported and you're going to feel loved and you're going to feel proud of your partner and of yourself. And mentally, you're not going to be fighting. You're not going to have that drain of that. And physically, you'll be more connected. Maybe you'll have a better sex life. I don't know. Socially, you're going to be out in the world more. Spiritually, when I talk about spiritual, I mean sort of mission. It's like your relationship is going to move your life forward in the direction that you want. Now, how cool would that be if you and your partner had a damn manifesto together? And when it was hard, you were like, hey, let's just go back to our damn manifesto. Mark, before he passed away, when we would get at each other, which was rare, but he would be like, hey, we're on the same team. A little bit, that was our simple damn manifesto. It was like, we're on the same team. Now, physically, you want to get healthier. What if you had your yes, not the how, right? But just, I want to have, like, I have a damn manifesto physically, and I don't say it often enough to be able to spout it off. But if it was like, hey, I want to have like a healthy body that is the size I want it to be, whatever. And then you think about, well, financially, if that were true, I wouldn't have to buy clothes that didn't fit, or buy clothes that I think like my, whatever those goal clothes are, the inspiration clothes that are not really inspiration. I wouldn't be wasting money on different diets and throwing food away. Emotionally, I would feel really proud. Mentally for me, physically, when I think about a health goal, mentally is the most important. It is, I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. So you're thinking about all these things. Physically is obvious. Socially, you're going to go out in the world more. You're going to feel more confident. And like mission and spiritual, it's like, wow, my physical body is going to align with my mental and emotional vision of myself. You can have a damn manifesto for parenting, for expanding a family, all of these things. And it's just whatever is most important to you right now, you create that touchstone to get you through the times that are hard.
I love that so much. And I think it's so important because, again, you're looking at it from a different angle of the big picture. And so many times, so often I feel like we get so caught up in our day to day that we forget what the big picture is.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it's just so important, the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Well, so let's talk about the PAD method, which is like one of your favorite things that I talk about. So the PAD method is when you talk about kind of getting caught up in our day-to-day busyness, what we also do is we get caught up in our thoughts and our thinking. And then we think that our thoughts are real. And we think that our emotions cause our thoughts, which is backwards. Our thinking actually causes our emotions. And the PAD method is really useful for any time you're feeling particularly sped up, overwhelmed, anxious, nervous, or when you think you're afraid, because a lot of times we're confusing anxiety and fear. And so what the PAD method is you pause and get present. So you're going to just take a breath and you're going to get present in this moment, which means you get back in touch with your body. because too often what is causing that sped up overwhelm, anxiety is we're thinking about the what if instead of the what is. And so you can, if you just have 10 seconds, you can just like run your fingers over the palms of your hands or kind of touch the things around you. Like this is the desk, this is the chair, because your body can only ever be in this moment. Your thoughts can be anywhere. If you want to I have a meditation that takes a minute. It's called Just One Day a Minute. And you can get it at justOneDayAMinute.com. And that'll walk you through a process that you can use in a minute. Once you have paused and gotten present, then you are going to acknowledge. And this is just acknowledging how you're feeling and not judging it, not trying to change it. You're just naming it. So that could be, I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed, I'm angry, I'm excited, I'm frustrated, I'm sad, whatever these emotions are. And then you're going to do something. And that is, if there is an action you can take towards your goal, towards the situation, that's how you know if you're in fear or anxiety. Because if you're in fear, there's actually action to take. But if you're in anxiety, you're just thinking about possible actions. So you're going to do something. That means if you're saying, okay, well, I'm nervous and overwhelmed about my business, and you're going to do something, you're going to push send on an email, or you're going to do 15 minutes of micro actions. If there's nothing to do, then you're just going to do something to change your physical state. Go on a walk, have a dance party. Laura, I tested this with my 6-year-old the other day because, again, I'm always testing this to see if it works in all the different areas. My 6-year-old was upset at her brother, because she's always upset with her brother, because he had almost tripped her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was devastated. And so she ran away crying and went into her bedroom. And I came in and I was like, tell me what happened. And she said, he almost tripped me and I almost fell and hit my face on his bed. And I said, okay, so hold on. Let's take a couple deep breaths. We call it mama love. I'm like, let me give you some mama love, which is just like, I put my hands on her back and her chest and we just breathe 3 times together. That's the way I can get her to breathe. And then she tells me, I'm like, well, what happened? And she's like, I almost fell. And I said, okay, did you fall? And she said, no. I said, did you hit your face? And she said, no. And I said, okay, we're just going to acknowledge. And I said, how are you feeling? I said, are you feeling scared? I bet you're probably feeling kind of scared. And she said, yeah. I said, are you feeling angry? She's like, yeah. And we just went through some emotions, right? I said, are you feeling kind of silly? And she's like, yeah, a little bit. We just went through all of it. And then we did something. And I said, okay, is there anything we can do right now about you almost falling? And she said, no. And I said, okay, well, do you want to have a hug? Do you want to have a dance party? But all of a sudden that had shifted her out of this spinning up in her head about how upset and anxious and angry she was about this thing that had not happened, but had almost maybe possibly happened. And it made things better. And so that's why, like, you need to know the PAD method for when you're feeling all of these big feelings. And there's nobody in this world who feels bigger feelings than 6-year-olds. They have really big feelings.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Oh, and that's so good. And I love that example that you just gave, because I think there's so many people in my audience who can relate to that, because so many of them are moms with small children. Can we also talk about, because I know we're getting close to our time and I could just literally.
I know we could be here for days.
Forever. I want you to talk a little bit about movement over mindset.
Yes. And I know you don't have your coffee mug that says that, but okay. So there are so many people out there talking about mindset, right? And it's really important, but we are spending too much time trying to fix our mindset, because if you are waiting until you have this perfect mindset, and so, you hear all these tools. Okay, we got to meditate for 15 minutes and you've got to journal and if you do all these things, then your mindset will be better. And then everything will be so much easier because your mindset is better. Sure. But then you're going to have a day where somebody cuts you off in traffic, or you get into a car accident, or your nanny can't come into work, or whatever it is. And your mindset like flies out the window. Your positive mindset flies out the window. So if we're only waiting till we have these only positive thoughts, then I will know where to find you in a year, because you will still be in the same spot. You might have moved a little bit, but you will not have made these massive strides towards your goals, because you will feel derailed by your mindset. I believe with every bit of my being that movement is more important than mindset. Is it easier to get great things done when you have positive thoughts? Well, of course it is, but it doesn't matter. Your mindset doesn't actually matter. So we think that we get inspired to get into action, and that we meditate for 15 minutes and we have these positive thoughts, and then this bolt of inspiration comes, and then we write the book, right? That's not true. Instead, we start writing the book and we get inspired. Like we get into action, and then inspiration catches up with us. And so we're trying to just even just taking a few steps. This is my favorite analogy about this, and I've expanded on it since the last time you heard it. So do you remember those like metal death trap merry-go-rounds that were on the playgrounds when we were kids? And they're still out there, but not as prevalent. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like everybody grabs. Yeah, the spinny thing. It makes me want to throw up.
Like the bars, the handlebar thing.
There's like 6 bars. It's heavy as can be. And everybody at the start of it, everybody grabs a handle. And because it's standing still, it's the hardest point in the process. But everybody grabs a bar and you like lean into it and you take your first steps and they're hard. And then you take a couple more steps and then everybody starts running, and then it gets fast enough and everybody jumps on and you spin and spin and spin and spin. That's the part that makes me want to throw up now. But when it's spinning, if you want it to keep going, you just stick your little foot out and hope you don't break your ankle, but you give it a little push and then it keeps going. It's never as hard again, unless you let it stop and everybody gets off and you start over. But the thing that I have realized more and more now, they did not wait till it was fun to get started. So they got started knowing that it would be fun, knowing that the payoff would be there, because eventually, when they pushed it hard enough, they could jump on and spin. And that's how we have to look at our goals. Is you can't wait till the book is written to start writing the book. You can't wait till you're making $10,000 a month to start your business. You've got to just trust that if you have your damn manifesto and you know what direction you're moving in, and you get started with your micro actions, that you'll get there. And it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Oh, eventually. I love that so much. Love it. Love it. I think that is the perfect spot for us to just let the audience know, where can they go get your book, Your Damn Manifesto?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can go to yourdamnmanifesto.com, and that will give you all the details. You click through from there to Amazon. There's some bonuses you get when you read the book. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And since you like podcasts, since you're listening to a podcast, you probably like podcasts. You can also listen to mine, which is All the Damn Things.
Wonderful. And I will link all that up in the show notes. Bevin, thank you so much for coming on the show again. This was so much fun to get caught up on all the new things.
Well, thank you for having me. I fully expect to be back here in about 6 to 9 months. I will be your first triple guest, but I thank you for what you're doing and helping women make their lives easier. It's such a pleasure to see it and such an honor to be part of it.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the show notes at lauracomark.com/podcast. And if you're ready to turn your website into a marketing machine, get more sales, save time, and simplify the back end of your business, grab my free resource, Power Integrations for your website. Head on over to lauracomark.com/power. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe. And also, I'll just love you forever if you leave me a review. It helps get this podcast in front of other people that can help inspire. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next week. Bye now.